So we've already used Video Shadow to help go through, get into YouTube, find good keywords, find out who's ranking and why they're ranking, but now we need to use Video Shadow for the same purpose with our own content. And the YouTube Video Analyzer allows us to do that very, very easily. So let's dive into that tool and see where we can get some great information from it. So if you were with us in the last video, we went through and we looked at the YouTube Keyword Analyzer and we determined what were the top 10 videos, and we talked about why they were the top 10. So I left them up here for a reason, because I want to go through and show you how we can use this information and compare our own content and determine what needs to be done to excel and beat them. So for the purposes of this will be open here, but we want to move ahead. We want to look at the YouTube Video Analyzer. Now, to do that, I pulled up the actual listings for the term fly fishing in YouTube. So we can see this was the #1 listing. So I'm going to go way down here, and I'm going to pull up something from the 3rd page, right? We'll take this one, and I want to capture the URL from this one because I want to determine what this guy right here, who probably wants that #1 spot for the term fly fishing, may need to do. So relative to him, I'm going to copy this URL and I'm going to go back into Video Shadow. I'm going to look at the YouTube Video Analyzer and I'm going to paste in the URL to that video. So remember, he's on page 3 for the same term that these guys were on for page 1. So I'm going to analyze that video, and we're going to look across here and see where he separates himself versus the competition. So in the same fashion that we analyzed these videos, we could see that the #1, on average, we saw about 500,000 views. We saw 500 to 600 comments, lots of favorites, very good ratings, very old videos. They were uploaded to sports. We could see the tags that they used, if they used URLs. We could look at their descriptions and their titles. Now let's compare them to this guy who's on page 3 right now. So we can see that with most of these videos, they did lead with the term fly fishing. Notice 1 through 5 all had fly fishing first in their title. That's small, but that tells me something. That tells me that maybe I want to lead with the term fly fishing, which he doesn't do. You can see that he uses fly fishing instructor 6, 7, whatever, the double haul, whatever that means. So we can tweak the title. So if I have this video, maybe I consider tweaking the title a little bit. The number of views, forget about it. The number of views per day, forget about that too. But let's look at the actual number of comments. The number of comments is quite low, okay? How old is this video? This video is 5 months old, and within 5 months, they've only gotten 13 comments. So it tells me that I need to do something to drive up the amount of comments that I have. His rating is great, okay? He's got a 5. No dislikes at all, 39 likes. Nothing wrong with that. So it's an older video, but it's not the oldest video within the channel. We can also look at their actual description. We want to look at their description. We want to look at the usage of the term fly fishing in their description. You can see fly fishing is used once. It's not really used anywhere else. And you can see that there are no URLs within this particular description. Now, we can look at the uploader channel and see how the uploader channel itself is relative to the other ones that we're ranking. But what this tells me first and foremost is that, of course, the number of views, the number of comments that I'm getting, the number of views that I'm getting are relatively low versus my competition. And to even come close to breaking into this top 10, I really need to crank this number up. Now, there's a number of methodologies which we're going to talk about which allow you to do that. But suffice to say, this is a good a placeholder to tell me that I have a lot of work to do to beat out a #1 position for the term fly fishing. And we can do the same analysis that we did in the previous one. We can look at the video, look at the stats. I'm going to pull up the channel really quick because I want to look at how they rank within the channel relative to other folks. And the channel itself is doing pretty good. You can see that a number of subscribers, a lot of channel views, a lot of total views within this channel. The PR is decent, so the channel is not doing bad. So maybe you can think about within the channel itself. So if this is me, I say if I want to rank that video #1, which is Ask a Fly Fishing Instructor, then I'm going to lock that video in the #1 position within my channel and try to drive up the number of views there. So you can see that that's a series that they're going with. And there's a number of things that I do different there as well to try to improve that. But regardless to say, they have great ratings, okay? Great great reviews on all their videos. They get comments. Maybe they should be asking for comments. They have a very active channel. You can see that they're uploading almost everything to sports, just like the number ones. Their descriptions could use some work. You can see they're not using a URL very often, so they're not driving traffic down. But as a whole, you can see that although they're producing decent videos, their responses are not that good. Not very many comments to any of the videos at all. Now, the other thing that we want to, of course, look at is how many backlinks do they have? Are they actively trying to get more promotion for this video? You can see that there's 0. So if I start to look at this particular data set, I can even go deeper into this and say, maybe not top 10, what's the top 20 look like? What's the top 50 look like? And how am I relative to the top 50? Because we saw that the number one video in the previous one talking about these particular videos alone, he had 5,000 backlinks. The number 10 spot had 1,500. This particular person here has zero backlinks registered for this video. So you can see that relative to the amount of time that it's been out there, its growth rate, how often people come back to this video over the amount of time that it's been on YouTube, is really, really low. But suffice to say, as we go through this series, we're going to talk about methods to promote your videos and drive that number up, both for using free methodologies and paid methodologies to really scale up to the point where you could compete with folks like this. So if you have video and you want to analyze yourself against the competition, this is the exact tool that you need to use. You need to be using the YouTube Video Analyzer. That'll help you level set and really gauge what tactics you need to spend your time and money on to outrank the number one spots.